with. Is that
Yes, okay. Scary, but
sure?
What do you say inside your head to scare yourself?
that it may not work.
Which means
I'll fail.
you mean, and how? What does that mean?
I don't want to fail.
No, I mean,
Well-
what's fail?
That it's still doing this. It's still man that was being rejected anyway.
Well, if somebody rejects you for being honest, you're better off, aren't you?
No, that's true. Yes,
Do you tend to date hysterics?
I do.
Okay, well, and you might want to change. You willing to start dating happy, sort of mature women?
That's what I wanted to do too.
Because if you're dating people because you think you're going to make them happy, you will fail, no matter what you do.
Yeah, I make them aware of the fact that I do date people, women who are hysterics or who are very.
Well, you're an extraordinarily intelligent and handsome and sexy man, so there's a broad spectrum of women you've overlooked. Who are out there just waiting.
Look at the grins,
Isn't
look at
that
the
true?
grins on these three.
Isn't that true, women?
Yes.
So where are you?
I just feel freer. Feel like, well, what the heck? I'll give it a try.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
You drew it.
This is to prove that we're TA therapists, huh? Because TA therapists are always right. Okay. The game this is parent, adult, child, huh? The game is you make a demand, you said. That's step one. And it looks adult. You know, I don't know what kind of demand, because we didn't get into specifics, but some sort of demand. Okay, your kid knows that whatever demand you made wasn't a very good demand to make at that point. Does that feel right?
Yes, that's how I feel.
Okay, so the secret message is don't get so close to me.
Yeah.
Back up. Okay, she says either from her parent, if she's a parent type, or from her child, if she's a child type, okay, I'll be glad to back up. Then you get your payoff, which is that you're really sad. You say to yourself, I blew it. It's all my fault. And she doesn't understand me.
Got it?
And then you may then end up angry because she doesn't understand you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
That's what you
that's
said
next.
earlier. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm suggesting is it's terribly hard to stop all this because it's been a defensive position that's been very important to you. So the easiest way to stop it is when you see it all happen, then say, oh hell, I didn't mean that. To her. I was just scared for a minute. And then you don't take the payoff. And you don't have to end up sad. You can just say, oh wow, hey, wow, I'm really smart. I can figure out even how I did that.
So she can choose to say, "God, you're crazy."
She can choose that, and then you
or-
say, oh fine, how wonderful, I found out that that's the kind of woman she is, because I don't want to marry my mother.
Okay.
Or she can say, well, I understand and I get scared too. And then you can say, oh good, I found myself a jewel.
Right.
Okay. Satisfied?
Yes. Do I get to keep this game?
Yeah, you can keep it.
Sure.
Make sure that.
You can keep the paper, but not the game. You can keep the paper, but not the game.
Get an autograph tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bob, in this one, I thought it was brilliant the way you so quickly identified his identification with his father, and also the analysis of the game that was done very precisely. You know, I think of a lot of therapists that I've supervised and how long in therapy it sometimes takes to get to just this point where the game is laid out and where it's clear that the client is setting themselves up in the way that he was. And one of the things I'd like to hear you talk some about is why you decided to analyze the game rather than going for the redecision.
Well, first for me, because I think we each had different reasons. One, the game was so clear. Although it was very important for him to get in touch with just exactly how he plays this game out. And then we got our energy involved in that rather than going back into early scenes. When we did make a move towards an early scene, we got a general scene rather than a specific scene. It's very hard to work with a general scene in getting a redecision.
The way any therapist can work with the game, whatever their orientation is, when the game is over, they ask in one word, what are you feeling? What do you say in your head about the other person? What do you say in your head about yourself? And then, how does that fit when you were little? Bob asked, how does it fit when you're little? And he said, it fits with my father. If you want to deal with a specific scene, you'd say, and find a scene in which you said these same things. And then you'd repeat them to him. I'm sad, I da-da-da, I da-da-da.
Yeah, I blew it, I don't understand.
I blew it.
I'm not understood.
Nobody understands me. And go back in time and be there. And where are you? What's the house like? How old are you? And really set the scene. I don't think... I liked what we did with games here because it gave him a tool to work with in the here and now.
Yeah, well, I liked the way you asked him to say, I'm scared, and really made it okay that he feels scared and that he could tell a woman that he's scared and not run from it.
I thought it was a great experience for him. Just that experience of saying it's okay. There's another issue, too, that always comes up, and that's a matter of time. In the real time of this piece of work, we're close to 20 minutes, and that's about as long as I want to work it with anybody. I want to quit with a clear victory, quit with a clear defeat, quit when it's about 20 minutes, or quit when it's time to eat.
Well, you know, one of the other things that I thought about is that with a don't be close injunction, he got more closeness actually with the two of you through working in the here and now than he would have by going back in the early scene. And I think it's hard to redecide a don't be close in a global, general way anyway.
Absolutely. In fact, don't be close has been so misused because it's meaningless. Therapists talk about the contract is to be close, and I have no idea what they mean, and neither does the client. It's like, I'm okay. And yes, he did. He's a very open man. I find what I said to him was absolutely sincere. I think he's a very wonderful guy. And I think when he starts to look for different kinds of women and plugs out instead of plugs in his father, he's going to experience closeness. Then if he has any difficulties, he can come back for specific redecisions around closeness.
Okay.
And I worked with him from Nurturing Parent, which I don't often.
Yeah,
I don't know if you noticed that.
Right, yeah, I did.
And he accepted that fine. And I did that so that he could use that as a model in his head to start to develop his own self-nurturing.
What's your guess about how far he'll take it from this piece of work?
Well, he's a very bright guy, and he's willing to experiment, and he's willing to leave some of his old stuff behind. And I think he moved quite a bit more during the week. And I think, and he's in the field very, very clearly. And my hunch is that he'll do a lot of changing.
I see him as having decided when he was a very little boy, somehow, in spite of a lot of things that went wrong in his life, that he was going to be a winner. And people who decide they're going to be a winners are winners at therapy, too.
I want to change what I have done with anger, specifically around the auto accident that I was in.
Would you be more specific about the auto accidents?
Yeah, I was in an auto accident on the Bay Bridge headed to work, and I was driving alone, and the car with me in it was totaled by a hit-and-run driver.
I want to stop you just a minute. 2 days ago when you told this as if you had been given a driver's license when you were 5 years old and you were 5 years old driving. This time you sound so different and
sure
age
do.
appropriate. So,
You sure do.
so-
Yeah. Like I experienced, you've already done the work.
Well, I've done a lot of it, and the piece that's left, there are 2 pieces left, because I'm very angry at 2 people. One of them is the person who was driving the truck that ran into me, and the other one is myself. And I'd like to work with me first.
You want to stop being angry at yourself.
Yeah, I want to let myself off the hook.
Would you be willing to stand up and be that part of you that was angry at you and let Joanna have
This
it?
way?
Stand up and look down at Joanna sitting down there.
Well, you stupid turkey! You're supposed to know how to drive a car. I mean, you were driving to work, and you've done that a million times, and you've been over the Bay Bridge, and there wasn't even a lot of traffic, and you were. Why didn't you see? You did see. You should have done something better. You should have been able to somehow get control of that car.
Sit down and respond.
Well, I did the best I knew how, and it wasn't enough. I tried everything. I tried steering, I tried braking, I tried doing both. I did see that truck coming, and I could not believe that he was there. If I had seen him, her, I don't know who it was, if I had seen this being sooner and had tried to move over sooner, I might have been able to.
That's the story.
You
isn't
should
it?
have done something better. Absolutely.
Always,
Yeah,
no matter what.
yeah. And then bad things wouldn't happen.
You know, what I'm experiencing is that you have a fantasy that if you stay angry at yourself long enough and hard enough, the whole thing will not have happened. So experiment with saying that.
If I
Stay
stay,
angry long enough and hard enough.
if I stay angry long enough and hard enough, I'll make it go away.
Yeah, right. Right,
I won't have to think about it anymore.
right. Good luck.
Well, I've been trying for 6 months. It hasn't been exactly successful, but it's getting dimmer. So I have great hopes if I keep on doing that.
I see this as the same quality as your parents' belief and ultimately your belief that if they stay sad enough long enough, somehow your sister won't have died. And if you only, in retrospect, do something right, you won't have had the accident.
Like in your family, the whole family believes in magic. If you just do something different in the future, the past will change.
Yeah.
And I hear your whole family does that, just not you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's your name? Mandrake the Magician?
No. No.
Maybe Houdini.
Not that either. I'm not letting myself get that what I did was the best I could do.
Now, what difference does it possibly make after the accident? That's what you don't understand.
Again, if you just harass yourself long enough and hard enough, you'll do it differently.
Back then.
Back then.
God, this is bizarre.
Yeah, it is bizarre, isn't it? Would you
Yeah.
say I'm bizarre?
I'm bizarre.
Say it again.
That was just a totally bizarre thought process.
Yeah, that's
It doesn't
right.
make any sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, so tell that to your harasser.
yeah.
That's it. Do that
That's it.
again.
Do that again. Joanna, do it like this to get it out in the open.
You are, I mean, this is really bizarre. You are really bizarre. I can't, I can go back there, but I can't change it.
Yeah, right.
You can't even go back there.
I can't, yeah.
So do that again just to kind of get it solid. And what are you experiencing now?
I'm a lot happier.
Yeah,
In this last piece, Bob, would you talk some more about the whole issue of child magic and...
Sure. I talked at the beginning about some of the belief systems and some of the fantasies that people have. And a lot of what we learn about how to feel is magical. We learn as little kids, for instance, that if we're angry enough long enough or sad enough long enough, people will eventually buy us an ice cream cone. They'll eventually take us fishing, or whatever it is that we holler for. If it doesn't ever happen, then we never use it. But we learn as little kids that somehow our behavior and our thinking and our feeling, especially our feeling, gets people to change. Now the problem with that is that when we grow up, we still use the same feelings to change things that have happened in the past. Not in the present, but in the past. Well, the present too. But that's not so neurotic. That works. But when we start to feel badly about things that happened in the past, in order to change the past, that's not going to work. And one of the ways of giving that up is to get people to see how idiotic, how ridiculous, how silly that is. One of the very important Gestalt principles is that what Jim Simkin called organismic disgust. If you say it often enough and loud enough, we just say, yeah, I'm not interested in that
laugh at
anymore.
yourself too, I guess.
That's right, that's right. Now, something very interesting happened with this client. The first day that she gave her contracts, she cried through the whole scene about the automobile accident. Cried and cried and cried in a very small child way. And I thought, boy, she's going to have to give up some tears here about this in some way.
She was behaving the way people always behave in a traumatic, after a traumatic event. This is what we'd expect from a Vietnam veteran who hadn't repressed, from a rape victim. She was still caught in reviewing this traumatic accident, which wasn't all that bad, but to her it was totally traumatic because it was a reaffirmation that she could die.
Well, yes, there was that, and there was also the fact that she never had really ever said goodbye to her dead sister. Mm-hmm. The work that you did with her the next day, which of course we don't hear much about in this work except for her brag at the beginning. She gave up her tears as her magic.